One of the questions I'd like to pose in this broadcast today is what has happened to mainstream media? I think in most countries, and I'm not certain of non-Western countries, but certainly in the West, there has been a preponderance of left-leaning news outlets that have vilified anything other than their own agenda, which is promoting anything woke and left-leaning. Hopefully such words will not incite you to riot or incite you to want to deal to me accordingly and in no uncertain terms. But the filth of poor media coverage and biased reporting has absolutely pervaded the media landscape in recent years. And we saw that with the Ardern Labour government here, where the public itself got quite incensed at the type of reporting that was happening. And since then it has continued. They seem to have their own agenda and do whatever they want. And it's so obvious to most people, even people who were supportive of mainstream media in other times. You will get situations where the Conservative government will be doing something in particular or make a mistake or whatever, and this will be very heavily reported in the media when the opposition, which is the Labour Party and their supposed coalition partners, make exceptionally outrageous mistakes. It's glossed over to a certain extent. I mean, it is so patently, blatantly obvious to so many people that there is something going on here that is unpalatable, unprofessional, unjournalistic, that the great switch-off is occurring. And I believe this is the case in other countries as well. People are leaving mainstream media. They're not watching the 6 o'clock news. They're getting their news from elsewhere. And of course, online, you have a choice of so many alternatives. And yes, we've talked about this before. Algorithms will pick up what you're looking at and the types of sites that you go to, and so on, your Facebook preferences, and you then get fed a diet commensurate with your particular proclivities, if those are the right words we can use in a situation like this. You get what you appear to be interested in. But having said that, people do have a choice to explore. And I do know a lot of older people in particular who have left the mainstream media, who do not buy the newspaper any longer. The newspapers in this country are particularly left-leaning and woke as hell. A good example is the New Zealand Herald. Another one is the Christchurch Press. You know, you just wouldn't use those newspapers for anything other than toilet paper if you were desperate in the bush and about to do your business in a long drop. You certainly wouldn't pay dollars and dollars to buy a copy of these rags. And I say this because I've seen so many examples of very, very poor journalism in those papers over the years. And surprisingly, they have the audacity to seek to charge you to read those papers online now. And a lot of news items that pop up on feeds suggest great stories, reasonably alluring headlines and fascinating headlines, but you get the first 3 or 4 lines and then it sort of says, read more, subscribe for this amount of money. Well, of course, it's the great turn-off, isn't it? Why would you do that? Because if it's news that you can find at an independent, smaller news outlet, of which there are many, then that's the way to go. Why would you pay for drivel? The trouble is, journalists in general have so much power. When you think about it, over the years, the diet that has been fed the masses on the 6 o'clock news and other mainstream outlets is a very powerful expression of the wishes of the producers or the editors or whatever. And if you say something often enough to people, your listeners, your viewers, they're likely to start believing it. And I think this is what has happened. That's why they still have a base of people, not as large by any means or any stretch of the imagination as in previous times, but there is still a significant body of people who believe everything they see on mainstream TV and radio. It's frightening, the power that is in the hands of so very few. Someone can write an opinion piece, someone can write what they perceive to be the news or their slant on the news, and people take that as gospel. That worries me, and it must worry you. And I know that many of you will say, well, people are independent thinking creatures. They can make their own minds up about these things, but I don't know. I don't know about that. I think also, if you look at the education system, there are children, many, there are exceptions, of course, but most of them are heavily indoctrinated from a very young age, primary school and intermediate and secondary, by left-wing teachers. Teachers are known to push a particular agenda. And of course, there are always exceptions, but the general rule, I know friends of mine with grandchildren in the primary school sector at the moment, and it's absolutely appalling what is being rolled out as part of these curriculums, and the sort of the reaction from teachers when a child resists or doesn't want to participate in these particular activities is appalling beyond belief. The child is made to feel very, very excluded and naughty. And some parents have reacted to this with a great deal of passion. But I think also the universities, we've talked about the universities before, hotbeds of wokeness and, professors and lecturers who do not toe the left line are marginalised and ultimately pushed out because the vice-chancellors and others who have the power to appoint and have the power to steer the direction of their particular university want to appoint people who are like-minded, people who think like them, people who believe in what they believe in. They do not want people with an alternative point of view. This is a problem with our learning institutions. They're not free-thinking places anymore. I'm worried about that. I don't know if you are. Should I be worried about that? Is there another side to this argument? Of course there is. There's always another side. But is there anyone out there who can dispassionately convey a sensible argument to me? Come on, hit me with it. I have an open mind. It may not seem that way, but I want to be fair. I want to know what your argument is. Are children being indoctrinated at school? Does the press have far too much power? Is there a move away from mainstream media? I submit there is, but I could be wrong. And how about it? Come on. This is your opportunity. I'm very happy to air anything that comes to me that is not horribly biased. I'd love to. It's all about being fair, isn't it? You might have a different view to me, but I want to give you the opportunity to let me know about it. That's enough for the early morning on a Saturday over Easter, that well-respected Christian festival, even if you're not a believer. You have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And my next broadcast, which actually is going to come out today as well, concerns a revolutionary new agricultural product developed by a colleague of mine here in this city, which is going to revolutionize the dairy industry. It's going to reduce methane emissions very, very, very significantly. It's a real game changer. It's something worth looking at. So come back later in the day, and ye shall see something quite remarkable that is coming to a market near you. It's a global reach product, and one that will excite anyone who's interested in sustainability, anyone who's interested in reducing the harmful effects of emissions from animals, farm animals, in the world. So this is something that should have widespread appeal, but let's leave that until the interview I do this afternoon.